in some occasions I do feel pressured to look a certain way. I think it's also for like personal appearance and not like necessarily what others think.
I absolutely think that there's a bit of a societal standard for men to look a particular way. There are kind of beauty images of masculinity that, granted, have kind of evolved over time, and now there's, in the public's eye anyway, there's a bit more diversity with regard to what people consider quote-unquote beautiful.
I definitely think male beauty standards are a thing. I'm not sure they're as prevalent as women's beauty standards, but I definitely think there's pressure to look a certain way, especially with influence from social media.
When you find celebrities in the mix today like Chris Hemsworth and Jason Momoa, and people walking around thinking that that standard of attractiveness is relatively normal and not necessarily something to aspire to, then yeah, there's some pressure from society in that sense.
Do you feel pressured to look a certain way? What is your version of the male beauty standard?
As a body type?
Yeah.
Or as like clothing? Not particularly. My idea of like the male beauty standard, I guess, is just somebody who keeps their appearance like clean, like tucked away shirt or anything like that, but like just somebody who clearly shows that they pay attention.
For me personally, I think just because of like the process of maturity and my time in the gym and things like that, I've started to kind of grow away from feeling that societal pressure and more towards just being comfortable in my own skin and, more importantly, with my physical abilities.
I'd have to go with impress, and then healthy and relieve stress are like neck and neck because I could see both of those as benefits.
Definitely the first two. I think I'm starting to get away more, and it's kind of like a growth process, but kind of every day that goes by or every week that goes by or every kind of micro goal that I achieve, I feel like I get the opportunity to grow away from working out to impress others. But even that said, like there are times where I get to go into a gym with someone that I care about and do something that I know that I'm good at, and like show off a little bit, and that tickles me, absolutely. With regard to what motivates me most though, it's definitely health and athletic performance.
I work out mainly for me, just because it feels good to work out. Working out to be healthy is definitely like the top of that list. Working out for the sake of somebody else is actually, I purposefully try to keep a mental note to myself to keep that at the bottom, just because I don't want my working out to become so that I look good for somebody else, because then that takes away the benefit of it being a positive experience for me, because when that idea or that person goes away, then that just becomes, well, then why am I still working out? And I don't want that to end up happening, because I do work out for me, and I think that I should work out for me.
Definitely, I've noticed it can relieve stress to like work out because you get your mind off things and focus on yourself. But it's also nice because it can be healthy if you do it right.
I work out for all three of those reasons, but I think the most important is relieving stress. I always go to work out whenever I have a big test or something coming up, but I usually go to the gym. It's a really good stress reliever. Secondly, I work out to be healthy. I want to stay on like top of my game, and I want to make sure I do some sort of physical exercise every day after school. Finally, yeah, of course, I do it to impress others. I work on different stuff at the gym for that reason, to sort of like tone muscles and stuff like that, but that's not as important to me as the other two.
So when I started working out, I actually wasn't particularly conscious of the societal standards. I just knew that the way that I was being pushed, people were telling me that I needed to start working out, whether it was specific individuals or society or whoever. Like, people weren't telling me that I needed to look a certain way, but they were telling me that I needed to start doing something, which is totally fine. I'm behind that. Kind of midway through, when I was in, like, I guess what you would say the late teenage years, my perception of society standards really started to heighten, and they started to influence me more than they do now and more than they did at the beginning. But now that I've been doing this pretty frequently and with a fair bit of structure for the better part of 7 years, I'd say. I think, I'm not going to say that I'm beyond them or past them, but they don't affect me in the same way that they used to.
Late middle school, early high school, I did have emotional struggles brought about by my current body image. It mainly stemmed from the fact that I used to be just hyper in shape, and then when I tore my Achilles, I couldn't work out, I couldn't really do much, and I put on weight because of that. It was a struggle for me to find the motivation to get back into working out. I never truly felt trapped by beauty standards that somebody else put upon me. I felt mainly trapped under pressure by my own standards that I had on myself because of how I was before I tore my Achilles versus after.
I haven't had really too many emotional issues from working out. I don't feel too trapped by standards. I'm pretty happy with how I am. I work out enough. I definitely don't feel like, even though I'm not exactly that sort of stereotypical male beauty standard, I'm pretty happy, so I don't have any emotional issues with it.
In the past, I used to do a small workout in the mornings. Every morning I would wake up, and then I also used to do it at night. I started doing it every night instead of the morning. Recently, I have shifted my schedule and done more serious gym workouts instead of a daily thing.
My whole workout experience, obviously there's been ups and downs as any journey has, but I've overall felt it is a positive experience for me just because it's helped me grow as a person and solidify my ideals and morals and values. Yeah, I think it's a positive experience, at least for me it has been.
I definitely think I'm at the point where I constantly want to work out to get to my goal, because I have a goal set in my mind. Once I reach that goal, I'll obviously have to continue to work out to keep it there, because I've noticed in the past I got to a point and then realized I was doing too much in a certain area of my body and I had to work to balance it out. That took more time, so it's a constant battle to get it to where I want to be.
Probably really started to kick in between 12 and 13, or maybe 13 and 14. And a lot of it was internal, because I recognized I was pretty deep into the weeds with my baseball career at that point, and I recognized that physical performance or physical prowess would help me on the baseball field in terms of athletic performance.
I started working out after I started playing sports competitively.
At the same point in time, entering high school, I was a bully victim. My dad kind of perpetuated it to some extent, and so did my older brother. So there's that to reconcile with, or there was that to reconcile with.
I was playing for a high-level ultimate team, and a lot of the guys I was playing with or against were a lot bigger than I am. Now that I'm the same height, I'm also still muscularly and physically not as heavy or as strong as some of those guys. And I have a good friend who goes to the gym all the time. We go to the gym together, and he really inspired me to start going to the gym more often, because he is in incredible physical shape.
With regard to being conscious of societal standards about masculine beauty, like I said, I wasn't super conscious of them until maybe junior and senior year of high school. And those were the days where I was quite a bit heavier and quite a bit stronger for my age, and just really into powerlifting.
It was mainly just to maintain that kind of active fitness that I no longer had once I got to high school, because we didn't have physical education or stuff like that.
As my good friend Jordan Brookshire says, the guys, in my opinion, that get a lot of attention for their bodies, and this is getting away from just kind of natural genetic things. So if you have naturally broad shoulders, then yeah, you might get some attention. And if you're tall, then you might get some attention, whatever. But the beach muscles are really what people care about.
Kind of like I said before, somebody who keeps their appearance looking clean.
Tall, very muscular.
Arms, abs, and calves.
Also, at the same token, somebody who has put effort into their body, and in some way, shape, or form that shows. It doesn't necessarily have to mean, to me at least, that they're just jacked or ripped or anything like that.
Sort of, cut in his midsection.
It'd definitely be in the abs and upper body.
Somebody who's clearly gone from point A to point B. If you start out 200 pounds, you clearly put in the effort to go down to 175 or something. That is my opinion of somebody who gets positive attention for their body.
I'm skinnier than a lot of than that sort of idea of that standard?
In comparing myself with those standards, like genetically speaking, I'm nowhere near that lean just because of my bone structure and the way that I carry mass.
I go to the gym a lot, and I do work out a lot, and I like to think that I'm pretty in shape. So, what muscle I do have, sort of, it does stand out.
It looks disproportionate if you don't work out your legs and stuff. So, making sure like everything is proportionate to the other parts of your body, but definitely more definition compared to like bulk is the ideal in my opinion.
I've cut down to leaner than where I am before, but still, like, first of all, I'm not tall, so that's taken away from me. And when you're tall, your torso is elongated and it makes your abs protrude more. Secondly, my shoulders and my hips are broad, even for a male. So I've always carried a lot of mass in my legs. While that really affords me a lot of advantage in terms of athletic performance, that's not necessarily the most attractive thing by society standards anyway. Because my hips are relatively big and because my waist is relatively big, like, for the most part, my abs don't really show unless I'm doing something that, like, makes them show. So there's that as well. Like, I don't have natural abs.